name is Ezekiel Dasho, and I'm going to draw this portrait of a woman. I'm going to use 3 grades of charcoal pencil, a hard, medium, and soft. I'm going to start with the hard pencil and try to keep this quick, but those are sort of famous last words for me lately. Let's see here. I'm going to start with let's make a circle for her skull, and it's good enough. And then let's clip off the parts of the circle for the flattened part of the head, and across the middle of the circle for her eyebrows. And I'm going to leave it there. I'm not going to do the rest of the build. I'm just going to start quickly in with her eyebrows and lightly draw them in. Imagine a center line coming down the face here, which I'm not going to draw, but I'm just going to keep it in mind as I sketch the outline of the eyes. Basically 3 lines up here and 2 lines down here. And then keeping this line here, going about to there for the beginning of the other. And if it's just more pronounced as 3 lines here, I'm not drawing curves or almonds. And 2 here with a little slight divot for the tear duct. And just block those in. So I want to know where her nose starts in relationship to the eyes that I've drawn. And basically this curve to help here. And so that would be where that side nostril is. And then this would be the other. Just draw the little C curves there. And then the nostrils here. And then the septum right there. And maybe some of the guidelines for where the shadowing will go, but we can add that in later. So let's place the mouth. It's about, she's got this slight expression, like this slight smile. So that the mouth is curved a little bit and isn't, exactly centered throughout. It's not expressionless. So let's just gently sketch in the shape of the lips here. And then the bottom lip is a little more askew than the top with the kind of wry smile she has here. And can indicate some of these lines from her cheek here. Well, let's get the chin. The guideline I have here isn't really super accurate, so just I'm ignoring that for now. I just want to make this distance here correct and not have it be too far out. So let's start in with the rest. And before we get going too far, I'm going to clean up the eyebrows a little bit. They're pretty big, and the rest of the face just doesn't meet with or match with them. I'll clean up a few of these lines here as we go along. So, I wouldn't say this would be like, I wouldn't want to show this as formalized, construction work to my drawing teacher or whatever, if I had one. But I think it's quick and easy, and don't have a problem with kind of trying to make it easier. Sometimes, it's not like, sacrificing the main theory or whatever. It's just a little bit simplified approach to. So let's draw that there, and drop the line for the chin down here. And see, here the guideline actually does help. It's just that it wasn't, completely perfect or anything like that. So there's this rhythm line there. And it's the ear, it's the lobe of the ear starts around here. And then there is this shawl, or let's make sure we go up high enough with that. Okay, so keeping it, it's moving rather quickly here. And the neck starts about here. Necklace, collar, and a fold of the shawl to truncate that. So let's start with some shading. And basically the whole neck can be treated as a shadow area. darker region here, darker region here. And darker there. Okay, shade in some of the hair. So this would be like one of the darker areas. Just imagine the hair as one, big object as part of this the sphere, not really as separate hairs or anything like that. And we'll just shade like we're shading a sphere kind of. And so this part's brighter. This part's a little darker. Shawl falling about there. Shoulder there. So let's work on the features here a little bit. And let's simplify the shine in the eyes so that leave a shiny area there, but I don't want the whole thing to be shiny, so right about there we'll have the shine. And get the eyelashes in there. They are definitely picking up on the camera on that shot, so the edges of the irises are a little darker. Shade the lips in a little bit. And let's start with the shading the face. So here you can thin the face in a little bit. It's a little wide right now, so I'll do what I can to adjust that and get it to look more like the picture. So this region here, the exception of her earring, is all a shadow region. And let's see here, raise that cheekbone up a little bit. Okay, I want to lightly and quickly cover this area of her face so that it is the base value to work with. So chin here. I want to get that smile right. use some of these shadows to help. Okay, so here we go. Faster, and just keeping in mind the general shading of the sphere with the light on this side that I'm moving toward now. And so maybe a little darker right about here and a little lighter here. I mean, it is pretty diffuse outdoor lighting, so you see the brighter points right about there. Shadow here. And now with respect to her nose, which, kudos to, she's got a picture perfect nose. I know a lot of Californians who would pay through the nose for that nose. I don't actually know anybody like that, but living close enough to California, you see them around. Let's do this. Let's draw this back and just going to use my kneading eraser to adjust the shape of the shadow a little bit in favor of slenderizing and elongating the face a little bit, because mine is a little too short and wide. I want to bring it in line with the picture. And let's finish shading, because a lot of times things will look weird and incorrect until you get the shading in there, and things will start to come together and look good. Okay, so let's shade in the eyes a little bit so that they're not flat white. And sharpen up the features a little bit here. Let's bring the depth in the eyebrows up a little bit too. And let's look at the nostrils for a second and do the same with those and get the shape refined and the depth of the shadow darkened. And let's go this way with some of the directional shading lines here will start to make a big difference as to how the picture feels. So to look for the planes and the way that the light's bouncing around. And where it needs to have the right the words for it, directional quality, I guess. We want to make sure that the shading is going with the form. So like a good example of that would be this area right here. These shadows here kind of traveling in this direction. And this one's here is traveling in this direction. Just having those directional elements to the line. Having those directional elements to the line can really contribute to the way that our eye picks up and reads the form. I see a lot of drawings from people who have not been drawing for very long, or they're just starting, like teenagers and stuff like that. And you'll see they shade everything so that it's all smooth and everything looks kind of shiny and smooth. And it starts to look kind of like bubbly and like it's made out of Jello or bubble letters or something. And they sometimes have an okay sense of form and whatever proportion and things, and maybe even a good sense of like a mature sense of line, but they can get to the shadow, the shading and stuff, and they'll have this really underdeveloped sense of like light and tone and where things are. I don't know. It's like I wonder sometimes if they can see it or if they can't see it yet, or if it's like an issue of where can they not draw it, or do they not really even see it? Are they not trying hard enough, or have they just the hair? I'm obviously gonna just sketch this. This is a quick sketch drawing, and I'm not going to belabor the hair. I do, however, want to mold this face into the shape that I'm looking for. And I'm not afraid to go dark, because I mean this is a charcoal drawing, and just all of the darks I think are just adding to the dramatic depth of the picture. And, and I'm fine with that. Like that would be the line for the chain. I mean, sometimes on a drawing I might take a lot of time and flesh out that metal chain and get all the highlights on it just right. But right now I'm just going to use the guidelines on the shirt as a way to decorate this picture a little more. And then I'll go through and find some shadow areas that I want to develop a little bit. I mean, I'm kind of going around that earring a little bit. So I want to quickly get some shadow or some pattern work done on this scarf or veil, headdress, whatever, robe. What's the word I'm looking for? Shawl. But I don't want to take too long, and I just want to get something on there. So that's kind of what I'm doing, and just a choice thing. I don't want it to have it be flat white, because as I move into this phase where I'm going to start finishing the picture, I want to know what areas are bordering what. I kind of like how this looks, so I'm going to keep doing it. So maybe like some areas that are a little darker and some that are a little lighter, and kind of this like sonogram or sound wave or leopard print kind of pattern. Areas where it's in black and areas where it's in gray. And just kind of letting it play, and the contours kind of playing with it too. Kind of some of these here to just fill it in. It's a pretty sharp line on the edge of the shawl, so you can add as much, or add that sharp line there, and without the fear of it looking too cartoonish. So my earring is a little bit, the placement's a little odd, and I'm just going to live with that. The eyes too, I need to just do a little shading to bring them into a more realistic realm. So establish this area over here that I want to have bright. Now that I've darkened those up, I need to darken these two a little bit so that they're not just standing out. Add a little bit more to the eyelashes. And, I am treating the eyelashes like they're all one thing, not like they're separate things. And let's look at the nose a little bit. Could use a little bit of TLC. Maybe there's even a hint of a shadow there. And we could draw like a little black underline for this jewelry on her nose. find some places in her hair that can use some highlights and lowlights. And on the border, we do of the hair and the shawl, we do see this like really pronounced shadow. So again, it gives you a little leeway, and you don't have to worry about having it look weird if you've got a unbroken black line there. Just make it varying widths and make it, match your picture as much as possible, and you'll be golden. We could add some beads here to the necklace too. Maybe some others to this necklace here, and I like to put in some of these circles and stuff just for the sake of completing the necklace and just having something to look at. But we're getting close to the end, and we can switch to one of the other pencils here quickly. And I've been using the hard pencil this whole time. And so let's switch to the medium, and it'll be good for darkening up some of these areas here. So I'm looking for places where I want more smoother, richer black tones. Just where I see, little bits of squigglies and sharp sort of points and V's and S's and things like that. Add to the value of those places and get this like right there. It's not a too terribly lot, and I think it's it's easy to overdo it at this phase, but just getting these like the opposite of highlights, not lowlights, but just accents, I guess, like black accents to complete the forms. The lips might not need it at all. Maybe just a touch like right there, and maybe right there. But, nothing bordering a line, just for this spot here, just to smooth out the shadow a little bit. And create the illusion of hair here by just putting in these little shapes that, here it might look like a letter V, there it might look like squiggle. Just looking at what we see, and adding a little shading, some like light shading here. But definitely not drawing, the individual hairs or the hair as if it were a million different things, but drawing the shape of this thing as if it was one thing, and that thing has lots of little components, lots of little shadow elements and highlight elements. Draw the shadow here and just keep on darkening that area. The ear at this point is not going to be too dark. And so on the borders of the earring, go ahead and deepen that, and it will help that stand out. And it will also be in keeping with the continuity and the pattern of her garment. And you see that the shadows and stuff are much more pronounced on the picture here than they are in the... But it makes for a nice dramatic drawing instead of having it just look all one, mid-tone. Let's see, maybe go over some of these areas here, just so that they don't look like they just had one tonal layer. Okay, so let's get out the third and final pencil here, and this one's the softest pencil of the bunch, and so it can really deepen things up, and you use it the bottom of the irises to get the shape there established. Got a pretty sharp edge, so I'm going to use it as to define the tear ducts there. And it's so soft, I can also use it on the whites of the eyes to get the right value level for that. This pencil is so nice and soft that I'm not pressing at all. I'm just touching the paper with it, and it's giving the paper some value, so it's really nice like that. So I can use it to even out these tones too. And just do that a little bit in some of the areas that seem too one direction, kind of, or too, like, when all of the shading is in one direction, it can kind of feel like it's moving a little bit. So we can calm that down by evening out the areas with the softer pencil. And we can also at the same time look for places that need more, just straight up need more value, and get that taken care of too. Well, the lighting's so diffuse in the photograph that this doesn't really come through well, but the nose needs a little bit of depth to not look too flat, and to look like it looks in the picture. And let's bring this next shadow up a little bit too. I'm looking at the nose and wondering what it needs, and I think what it needs is freckles. So yeah, let's put in some of those. And yeah, we'll go ahead and use the soft pencil. Switch back to the hard pencil for a little bit for this. And the medium pencil, just to kind of, the reason I'm switching is less because of the hardness of the pencil and more because of the edge that they have right now. And that did it. And you know, I think it has a bunch of benefits doing the freckle phase. Like, first of all, she has freckles, so there's the life, you know, just in keeping with reality. Second of all, I mean, they look nice. Third of all, they break up the, like on these quicker drawings, they break up the motion, sense of movement that the shading can give the drawing, like we were talking about a little earlier. Third of all, I mean, they're just beautiful. And they add, you know, some life to a drawing that would otherwise, you know, since it's not, you know, I decided at the outset that I didn't want to take a ton of time with this drawing. You know, I sacrificed some things in terms of detail and the amount of time that, you know, we would give to each feature. But I think the freckles definitely, they're fun and they help. So if you're following along with me and you're on the fence about the freckles, I guess the technique that I'm using is to very lightly just touch the pencil to the paper first, and then ever so slightly just squiggle it back and forth without applying any downward pressure. And if the edge of your pencil is so that that's not leaving enough of a mark for you, then maybe trying a little bit of pressure, but try the squiggles first. So like on her nose here. Just, I'm trying to find like a flat part of my pencil that's not so flat that it's going to leave a weird looking shape, but that's, you gotta find the right spot on your pencil. And that's going to be, you know, different for everyone depending on how you've been shading and drawing. She says these kind of rosy cheeks here too can get a little darker. I don't want to go overboard with the freckles, but I definitely like having them there. There's maybe like a freckle or two on the neck too. I don't want to get too dark, but okay. Let's maybe add some value to some of this shawl rather than leaving it. white. The after all the area that I want to leave white, maybe like the shines on the hair. Maybe not even that though. Go back in here and darken this up a little bit. Again, here, not drawing hair at all, just shading the sphere of the head. And doing it in the direction of the hair in some of these places. So yeah, that's looking good. Okay, and then let's just quickly, lightly I should say, lightly get some of these I see some ripples in the fabric here, so I can kind of use those as ways to inform the shading a little bit too. But I just want to keep it light and kind of free. And doesn't need a lot, but that'll do. So yeah, now I'm just taking a step back and making any little corrections that I want to make, like this little dimple in her chin. She has a freckle there too, so that works out. Okay, so I think that about does it for this little charcoal drawing of mine. And if you enjoyed this, and please like and subscribe. And if you have any friends that you think you might enjoy this too, please share it with them. And thanks so much for being with me to draw today. I'll be back real soon with more drawing videos. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to mention. Yeah, please, leave any thoughts, questions, concerns, comments, criticisms, critiques, raves, reviews, whatever in the comment section. And yeah, keep drawing, and we'll see you next time.